Hello! If you have clicked on this video, then you know that we're going to talk about books today. I'm Mariah, I'm 30 years old, and I love books and all the other things that I do and feature on my YouTube channel, but today, it's books. I have purchased a lot of books in the month of September, so I figured I would just share with the world what I've purchased. If you feel like you have a similar book taste to anything that I've talked about in the past, then maybe these are some good books for you to check out. I will say that like book taste is super specific. I think it's similar to like personal fashion style. You have to like find what you like, find the things that fit you. Not every book is for everybody, except Jane Austen, which everyone on the earth should read. That's just my personal opinion. Yeah, if you don't like a certain book that like everyone loves, that's okay. It doesn't mean you have bad taste, just different taste. So today we're going to be talking about the books that I purchased and also the books that I'm looking forward to reading in the future, in the fall. There's a tiny bit of overlap because I have purchased one that I'd like to read in the fall. And yeah, so let's just, I guess, get into it. These are the books. I really love classics. I love literary fiction and also nonfiction. There's a theme a little bit, which was accidental, but I'm really drawn to green books, if you couldn't tell on my bookshelf over here. I have like a whole section of just green books, and I really love just green. I guess it's just my favorite color, so I'm drawn to green. But the first book that I purchased is The Portrait of a Lady by Henry James. I got this really nice copy that was maybe a little bit too expensive for a used book, but it's a really beautiful copy. It has like this beautiful, are those daisies? I don't think they're daisies. Daffodils? Daffodils. We're gonna call them daffodils. Really beautiful daffodils on the front, and then on the inside, this copy is also from 1994, which is the year I was born, so that was kind of special. And I have been wanting to read more Henry James, but I just thought this was a really beautiful book. Sometimes, let's be honest, I buy books because they're beautiful, and this was one of them, but I will also read it. The next one that I purchased is also a classic. This is David Copperfield by Charles Dickens. There's a book on my TBR list, just my overall TBR list, that I just added called Demon Copperhead, which is like kind of inspired by Charles Dickens' David Copperfield. So I saw this beautiful copy of David Copperfield for $5, and I just thought, you know what, let me read David Copperfield and then I can read Demon Copperhead, and it's just, it'll all make full sense to me. So that's why I got this one. And also it's $5. And when you can find a beautiful book like this for $5, you just buy it. That's my mentality. The next book that I purchased is the one that is the nonfiction book of my purchases. This is called Wild Girls by Tiya. It's about just like historically important women and how they were inspired by nature and being outdoors. And I just love reading about important women and anything about them, and I love the outdoors, so I'm gonna read that one. The next book that I got was The Overstory by Richard Powers. It's technically a novel. It has won a Pulitzer Prize, which it's like there. It's like reflecting the light. It has won a Pulitzer Prize, which I guess means it's a good book. I mean, it does mean it's a good book. It's about trees and nature, but I think mostly trees. It says, the Overstory unfolds in concentric rings of interlocking fables that range from antebellum New York to the late 20th century timber wars of the Pacific Northwest and beyond. I thought it was a really good choice for fall. This is the one that is actually on my fall TBR. I thought, what a better time to read about trees than fall. The lady at the bookstore, which this is why you go to local bookstores, they know so much, these people who work there. she told me that this author is about to come out with another book that is similar to this but about the ocean, and that sounds amazing. Like, and also a little spooky maybe, but it sounds amazing. So this one is my fall read. Whenever the next one comes out, I'm sure that I will look into that as well. And then my last two books are Jane Austen books. First, this copy of Persuasion, which is my favorite book of all time. If you haven't read it and you like romance in any shape or form, please read this novel. It's the best book that I've ever read, and the story and the tension and everything is just so good. The characters are so good. This is my 5th copy of this book, but they're all different, okay? One of them's Italian, one of them's in the annotated version, one of them is the version that I've had since I was like 12, so they're all special, but this one I just thought was really beautiful. It is the Vintage Classics version. Yeah, Vintage Classics, and it's so pretty, like with all the green flowers. And then I thought it was really beautiful on the inside as well, and I love how it has this little flap because you can use it as a bookmark. And I just love reading about Eliot, so if you are interested, you should pick up a copy. The last book that I got is also Jane Austen. This is one of her shorter stories. It's called Lady Susan, and I actually haven't read this one by her yet, so I'm excited to read it. And it's just really short. I'll probably read it super fast, but that's the last one. And it was like a couple dollars. I don't even think it says. I think they charged me like $2 for this, which is why you go to used bookstores. So those are all the books that I purchased in the month of September. I'm sure now that it's October, I'm going to purchase some more, and then I'll show you those too. But I did want to tell you what my TBR list looks like for fall. I tend to be like super over ambitious. I know that there's people on like Book Talk and stuff that they're like, I read 200 books in the last 2 months, and you're like, how is that possible? Do you have things to do other than reading? I tend to read. I'm not a slow reader. Like, I can read really fast, but I tend to like take my time with books just to like really get into the story, and also I just have other things that I'm trying to do in my life as well. So I'm like reading on commercial breaks of like TV shows, or like reading in the car while my husband's driving, things like that. Whenever I can read, I do read, but it just means that I'll make a list. Okay, we're back. The car alarm is gone. Okay, so I tend to be like a little bit over ambitious in the amount of books that I put on my to be read list, but it's okay. You can be over ambitious because maybe you'll get through all of them. Maybe you won't, and you'll read them next year or in the winter, and that's okay. So I want to just tell you what I'm planning to read. Maybe you don't care. I do. Maybe this will inspire you to put some fall books on your to be read list. So these are just books that I feel like make me feel like fall. The first one is Middlemarch by George Eliot. Like I said, I'm trying to read and buy a lot of the classics just to like build up that literary fiction foundation. And I just love classics. Obviously my favorite author is Jane Austen. I love that style of writing. I love those kinds of stories. So Middlemarch by Jane Eliot. I think that one, I'm in a book club with a few of my friends, so I think that might be one of our book club books because we all kind of agreed that it would be a perfect book for fall. The next one is inspired by Middlemarch by George Eliot. So there's a book that is a non-fiction book called My Life in Middlemarch by Rebecca Mead. She was really inspired by the book by George Eliot, and this is kind of just like her story. I think it's like her story, but kind of how her life was inspired by the book. So that one looks really good. The next one is kind of like a spooky one, I guess. It's called The Little Friend by Donna Tartt. Donna Tartt wrote Goldfinch and The Secret History. The Secret History is like one of the best books I've read recently. I don't have a copy of it because I read it on my Kindle, but I want to buy it so bad. Just because when I have books I really love, I love to have a copy of them. So this is her 3rd book that she wrote, and it's about another murder, and like I think a little girl sees the murder or discovers a body or something, and it seems really interesting. And so that one I thought was perfect for fall because it's, you know, a little spooky. all of her books feel like they're set in the fall, so it's perfect. The next one is called My Beloved Monster, which is about a cat. And I think it is a memoir. Yes, it is. And it's just about a cat. And I have a cat, and I love my cat, and I will just love reading about cats. So I just decided to throw that one on my to be read list. The next one is called The Bookshop, and it's a history of American bookstores. It's by Evan Friss. I obviously love bookstores. I love going to bookstores. I love that bookstores exist everywhere. I love used bookstores, new bookstores. We need those spaces, I feel like. And so reading about the history of the American bookstore, I feel like sounds really interesting. And bookstores are the best for fall. You just want to go to a cozy bookshop, browse, have a coffee, fall. The next one is called The God of the Woods by Liz Moore. It's a mystery, and it's set in a forest, and that felt like the perfect fall book to me. This one also, I feel like it's a little bit self-explanatory. It's called In Defense of Witches, and its subtitle says Why Women Are Still on Trial. It is by Mona Chollet. It's called In Defense of Witches, so I don't feel like I should need to describe why that's the perfect book for fall. The next one is called White Noise by Delillo. When I read the description of this book and like the cover that I saw of it, something about it was just like, this is the perfect book for reading in the fall. I don't know how to describe it. Like, it probably has nothing to do with fall or autumn or whatever. It just feels like the right time to read that book. The next one is called All Creatures Great and Small by James Hero, I think is how you say it. I think this is like an older book, but I love books like this, which are like kind of memoirs, but not really. It's just like people telling stories about their lives and like their occupation and things they've discovered in their occupation. So this book is about a vet, and he's a vet, I think in Britain, but that could be wrong. It doesn't say. It's just a vet, and he's telling stories about taking care of animals and like all the things that he has discovered, and that felt so nice and cozy to me. There's another book that I read that is similar to this, and it's called Don't Look Behind You by Peter Allison, and he was a safari guide in Africa, and it's just stories about all the things that he encountered while he was a safari guide, and it was just like so fun and interesting to kind of see through somebody else's eyes for a little bit. So I feel like the All Creatures Great and Small is going to be a similar thing where you get to just see through somebody else's eyes. I'm never going to be a veterinarian. I'm never going to have these experiences, but I get to read about them, and that's what's beautiful about books. And then the final one that I have on here was The Overstory, which I already shared with you, which is about trees and forests and nature, and that just feels perfect for fall and beautiful. So if you've made it this far through the video, thank you for watching. I hope that you enjoyed. I hope that you were inspired for some new books to add to your to be read list. Maybe you were inspired to go check out some local bookstores. If you're looking for bookstores in the Southern California area, I have a couple videos, a couple shorts that I put up that show some bookstores in Los Angeles and in Orange County, and I'm working on going to more places. So look out for new videos about new bookstores in the area. I love to go to bookstores when I travel, so I'm sure I'll make videos anywhere that I get to travel. But yeah, check out local bookstores, buy used books, read books. If that's all you get from this video, just go and read a book for a little bit. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, rest of your week, and I will see you hopefully in another video soon.